All right. All righty. Ready to rock. Happy Tuesday, April 12th. Easter Sunday is coming up. And so I hope you enjoy your weekend. Please don't try to follow your meal plan on Easter weekend or on Easter Day or whatever events or crazy things that you have that you have going on. Do not do that. All righty. Enjoy the holiday, enjoy Easter, enjoy your family, enjoy everything that you're going to enjoy on Easter, and do not worry about your meal plan. Okay, that's first and foremost. Now, Monday, completely different story. All righty. So we are going to talk about protein first, and then we'll kind of get into some snacks and some motivation, and we'll get into a little bit of everything. But protein is going to be our hot topic. So there's some chats already. If you have any protein questions, get them out there. Miss Jeannie asked pretty complex questions with lots of good answers. And so it says that we include protein on your plans, protein shakes on your plan specifically. Is there a better time of day to have your protein, like in the breakfast or before or after your workout, etc.? What are some benefits of protein intake? How do we figure out how much or when to drink our protein? And then if we've already discussed it, point around the right direction. But I think we have, but it's always a good topic and a great thing to talk about, a good reminder. And so with protein, there's a couple things we need to understand. First and foremost, we don't need that much protein. A lot of people push a lot of protein. A lot of people push protein supplements or just say, oh, you're not making gains or results because you're not eating enough protein. But if that were the case, we would have zero vegetarian and vegan athletes. We'd have zero vegan Olympic athletes. We'd have zero vegan professional football, basketball things. And that's not the case. We have lots of vegan athletes, okay? So keep that in mind. So vegans' protein content is much lower than a meat eater protein content, number one. Number two, even if you supplement with a vegan protein supplement, its amino acid profile is a little bit different than like a whey supplement or the amino acid profile of meat in general, whether it's chicken, egg whites, things like that. And so their amino acid profile in vegan supplements isn't as anabolic, isn't as muscle growth oriented as like a whey protein or egg whites or chicken breasts. So also understand that, and vegan athletes are just as strong, just as fast, just as awesome, right? So when someone says you're not making gains or you're not making progress because you don't have enough protein, probably wrong, right? That's probably not the case. And so, but what we do know is that we need somewhere between 0.8, so less than 1, and 1.4 or maybe even 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. The key note there is kilogram body weight, not pounds. So I'm gonna do some math. So right now I'm like 190 pounds. I'm gonna divide that by 2.2 because there's 2.2 pounds in a kilogram. And so I'm about 86 kilograms. So on the low end, on 0.8, I would need 69 grams of protein, okay? On the high end, 1.6, I would need 142 grams of protein, okay? So somewhere between whatever my first number was, 70 and 142, right? And so that's a pretty wide range, number one. And also it's really low compared to what we mostly do. So, sorry, someone can't get into it. I don't know. So keep in mind that when you get on a meal plan, we go higher protein for multiple reasons, but it's never because you need more progress, right? It's because you're not building muscle or whatever the case may be. So first and foremost, protein is the safest, per day. So I'll be per day. So I need like 140 grams of protein per day, right? At the high end. If I'm exercising, if I have an active lifestyle, I would go on the high end. Now, even my meal plan is like 200, 220 grams of protein, right? So I'm already higher than that. So protein is the safest macronutrient to overconsume, okay? So if we eat more protein than not, the only thing that's really going to happen is we're gonna have bad gas and we might be a little constipated, right? So protein is the most complex macronutrient, meaning that the amount of calories it takes us to break down protein is really, really high. So let's say I eat 100 calories of protein. It might take 20, 30, 40 calories to digest it and utilize it and do all this stuff with it. So realistically, I'm only left with whatever's left, 70, 60, whatever, somewhere around there. So it's very, very complex. It doesn't lead to fat gain as much as carbs or fat. However, it can be, how do I mute this? However, it can be, oh my goodness, I understand this. It can be converted into carbon fats. Okay, so don't think that it can't. It's just not as likely. And so I'm trying to do the things that I do for you guys are crazy. I'm trying to get someone into this Zoom call. So give me a second. Let me copy and paste all this stuff. And boom. So hope that helps. I don't know if it's enough or not. So very, very safe. Doesn't mean that it doesn't get stored as fats or carbs. It just doesn't get stored as fats or carbs as easily as fats and carbs do. So and another great benefit is having a high protein diet. It's going to help keep you fuller longer. All righty. So that's probably the most greatest benefit of protein ever. Like if you ate a crap ton of chicken breast, like you will be so full that you will not eat anything else, right? And so that's another great benefit of protein. Now, protein coming from food and casein, so real food, whether it's chicken breast, seafood, egg whites, whatever the case may be, and then casein, which is a supplement, right? It's derivative of milk. And so those two things are very slow. So that's where the complexity comes from. So it's very slow. It takes a lot of time for us to break it down and utilize it. That's why it's so complex. And so we have to understand that. And so, 6 ounces of chicken breast is going to last us a lot longer in our stomach than a protein shake like the Rule 1 that's on your plan. Casein is not on your plan. However, oh my goodness. However, you can have it. So casein calories and macros is very, very similar to the Rule 1 that's on your plan. And Rule 1 has a casein variant, I guess is a word I'm looking for. So there's whey isolate, there's whey concentrate, and then there's casein. So those are your 3 types of protein shakes. Casein is very close to being real food. Most people drink it before they go to bed because it's long lasting. And so it will kind of slowly be utilized as you sleep. Or a lot of meal replacement shakes have some casein in it as well, because again, it's long lasting. We're trying to, it's very similar to real food. All right, so that's kind of something to pay attention to. It's best to eat whole food or casein periodically throughout the day. So kind of on a regular schedule and in equal amounts. And so that's where kind of studies have shown like, hey, it's kind of also where the idea of you need to eat every 2 hours, every 3 hours, every 4 hours, or whatever the case may be. And so we know that if we can eat quantities of protein consistently throughout the day, we will see the best results. And so plus or minus 10, 15 grams, right? We don't want, so essentially like kind of the idea is, hey, should I eat 100 grams of protein for breakfast and then only 20 grams for lunch and 20 grams for dinner to make up my 140 grams? No, we should probably evenly distribute that a little bit better, because the body will be able to utilize it a little bit better. The science says something where we can digest somewhere between 25 grams of protein and 50 grams of protein in one meal. Now, in the beginning of following a higher protein plan, you're probably on the lower end of that. Your body has to adjust to digest protein, right? And so we have different enzymes that we need, we have different hormones that we need, and all this stuff that's probably not readily available if we're not used to a high protein diet. So we want to make sure that we give it time, right? And so in the very beginning, if you have ever started, or like when you started the meal plan with us, if you ever felt like constipated or bloated or things like that, it's probably just because your body wasn't really used to that much protein. Yes, casein is a powder. And so we're not used to that much protein, but over time, we will get better at digesting and utilizing it. So that constipation, that gas and stuff like that will subside as our body gets better at utilizing it. So keep that in mind as well. And again, 25 to 50 grams, like that's a huge range, right? And so we don't really know. And so we just kind of try to do our best to be as consistent as possible. And then we let our results kind of dictate what's going on. And then also something that we don't know is how long does it last? So if I have if my max protein digestion and absorption is 25 grams, how long do I have to wait until I can have another 25 grams? We don't really know. So that's another kind of weird thing. And so a lot of people spend way too much time trying to focus on this. And we just don't know. And it's not that big of a deal. We just want to try to eat consistent amounts of protein consistently throughout the day, consistently throughout the week, consistently throughout the month. And ta-da, like we will probably have the answers that we need. All righty. And so try to remember that. Why do we need protein? Proteins are responsible for almost everything in your body, whether it's hormonal regulation, whether it's hair, skin, nails, whether it's muscle mass, whether it's bone, whether it's that we have things called transport proteins that help carry things to and from the stomach to the muscles, stomach to this organ to that organ. So proteins do a lot. So we need protein for almost everything. So there's not really a good answer for that. Like, we need protein for this one thing. No, we need it for everything. And we're constantly breaking things down. Like your skin is constantly shedding, your hairs are constantly falling out, your muscles are constantly being broken down, all this good stuff. And so that protein turnover and that degradation of proteins, we need to build that back up. And so having that consistent protein content all day, every day is very beneficial. So that's kind of where we do want to prioritize protein for those reasons, but it's not as much as we think it is. And the reason we go over in protein content is for all those other added benefits like fullness. It's a very safe macronutrient to consume. It's not going to mess up your blood sugar. It's not going to mess up your cholesterol and things like that. Now, if we went over in protein with like ribeye steaks or cheese or other things that are like high in fats, then we have some other issues. But it's not the protein content of those things, it's the fat content or the carb content that's associated with that protein. But protein in itself, solo, is really safe to consume. All right. Now, this other side of things is the supplement side. So that's going to be like your whey isolates and your whey concentrates. So your rule one, if you have the red container, which you should, that's going to be a whey isolate. If you have the blue container, which you should not, it's a blend. The problem with blends is it's not as pure, which is why it's cheaper, right? So if you ever go to like the Rule One website and you look at the blue container and it's like all the same flavors, all the same macros, all the same calories, blah, 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 and it's cheaper and you are like, I want the cheaper one because I want to save money, it's not as pure. So when it says, hey, there's 25 grams of protein per scoop, we don't really know how true that is. We also don't really know where that's coming from because it's a blend, right? And so make sure we're trying to get the pure isolate, which it has to live up to its name by law. And so it's a lot more pure. It's like a higher quality, right? Essentially. And so with these two things, isolates and concentrates, they're fast acting, they're simple. Your body can take those 25 grams of protein and digest it, utilize it like right away. So it's not as complex as chicken breast, egg whites, casein, which is a powder, or all these other proteins, right? And so what that means is that we can use it strategically. So a lot of times you guys will have protein for breakfast. That's okay that it's not as complex at breakfast because we've gone all night with no protein. We've gone 8 hours or 10 hours, however long it was before we had, like last time we had dinner, right? Until breakfast. So boom, it's fast acting. We need it. We haven't had protein in 8 to 10 hours, maybe even longer. We need it right away. Another time we have it as snacks. If you utilize it as like a post-workout protein shake, totally okay. Your body's craving proteins after you work out. You just broke down a whole bunch of muscle tissues. You need to recover those muscle tissues. Boom, let's get some really quick acting, fast acting protein in our system. That's actually why protein supplements were created in the first place, was for a post-workout kind of supplement and to get that fast acting protein into our muscles, because again, chicken is too complex, ground turkey, egg whites, all those things are too complex. It takes too long for the body to utilize it and we need it right away. Now, if we drink our protein shake and we haven't just worked out, what happens if we chug it? well, we'll probably pee some of it out. We'll utilize some of it, we'll pee some of it out, and then we will store some of it as well. So it's kind of like a trifecta. 3 different things will happen. We would love to utilize more of it and not pee it out and not waste it. And so if you have your protein shake as a snack and you have not just worked out, try to sip on it for me. Make that protein last like 30 minutes, 45 minutes if we can. Don't just chug it real quick and then be done with it in like 2 or 3 minutes, right? Try to sip on it, put it back in the refrigerator, pull it out, drink a little bit more, put it back, right? And so try to do that for me. And you will just get better value, better bang for your buck, because you won't pee out as much protein as if you were to just chug it for no reason if you haven't just worked out, okay? So pretty big difference between food and whey isolates due to their complexity and the timing of when we can use those things to our advantage to get the most out of them. Eating chicken after you work out is not a bad thing. It's just not as quick and is not as beneficial as if we just had a protein shake. So don't think that I'm saying, oh, I can't have chicken after I work out. I'm not saying that you can, but protein supplement would just do the job better. All righty. And then pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout nutrition are identical, which is what people just don't seem to understand. What you eat pre-workout should be very, very similar to what you eat post-workout or what you eat intra-workout. And it's all just carbs and protein, right? And so timing changes a lot of things. And so if I'm going to eat 2 hours before I work out, chicken might be okay. If I need some protein 30 minutes before I work out, that might be a supplement. That might be my protein shake, my whey isolate that I need. Intra-workouts, there's a lot of intra-workouts that are amino acid dense. You know what else is amino acid dense? Your protein shake. So go ahead and just drink your protein shake. And then of course, carbs and sugars and stuff like that. And the same thing with your post-workout nutrition. We want some protein, we want some carbs. We actually want more carbs during all of those 3 things than we actually want protein. It should be about a 2-to-1 ratio. The perfect post-workout nutrition is actually 2-part carbs and 1 part protein. Gatorade has a post-workout drink, protein drink, that is that exact formula. It's 2-part carbs, 1 part protein per bottle. So I think it's like 20 grams of protein and 40 grams of carbs or 40 grams of sugar. And so again, it's these big companies, these big sport companies, sport nutrition companies understand it. I don't know why some people don't understand it, but just know that 2-to-1 is actually a perfect ratio. Pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout nutrition is all very, very similar. We don't need fats in any of that. So if anyone's like, hey, you should eat some almonds before you go work out, they're 100% wrong. It will just sit in your stomach and you will probably feel bloated and you'll probably feel heavy. But if you have like some fruit or some carbs with a little bit of your protein shake, you would probably feel a lot better. All righty. Is it better to drink snack protein shake before or after workout? Does it make a difference? Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. I would say like, are you hungry? If you're hungry, then I would do it before you work out. If you're not hungry, you feel like you can work out okay, then I would do it after you work out. I will find the name of that Gatorade drink. But again, don't get too focused on that Gatorade drink. Are you at the ball fields right now? I feel like you're like, oh, I'm at the ball fields. I need to get some. Yeah, these everything. For us, for Facts Over Fats people, pay more attention to following your meal plan, less attention to the perfect workout drink, right? That's kind of the goal, right? We want to try to be as consistent as possible on a meal plan before we start to think there's a magic supplement that's really going to help me feel better. There's not one, right? So let's not to do that. So this is the pre-workout options. So then let me see if I didn't miss anything up here. Boom. Okay, got it. And I got another one from Allison. I don't want to miss it. Okay, so moving right along. So cool. That was all the protein stuff. So Allison has a question about pre-workouts. Pre-workout supplements are mostly 2 things: a stimulant and a vasodilator. Okay. Now, there are a couple stimulants that are not accelerants, like caffeine is an accelerant. It speeds things up. It speeds up brain function, heart rate, respiration rate, speeds up everything. If you get like really jittery and you're like, oh, I can't do caffeine, then there are non-accelerant pre-workouts. There are things without caffeine. essentially. But what there's gonna be in there is amino acids, because amino acids are responsible for everything, because proteins are responsible for everything, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein. And so then we just want to kind of find a pre-workout that helps us feel the best, right? So I think every single person that I work out with takes a different pre-workout supplement, and we're all equally as happy, and we don't like force my pre-workout on their pre-workout or whatever the case may be. So whatever feels best for you. Now, it's funny, it's a funny relationship because caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. The other stuff in pre-workouts are vasodilators. So these two things are fighting each other. Now, caffeine does us no good if we are in an aerobic situation, or if we are in more of like a circuit style training, or if we are in like a obstacle course style training. Caffeine does us no good because we're in a more of an aerobic situation, right? Even if your circuit is very intense and you're like, oh, this is anaerobic, the circuit lasts for so long that it now becomes aerobic, meaning it utilizes oxygen. And if caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, meaning it restricts our blood flow and supply to the rest of the body, we don't want that if we need blood flow and oxygen to the rest of the body, right? So what I'm saying is don't take pre-workouts before you go run a marathon or even a 5K or a Spartan race. And most boot camps, I really wouldn't do a pre-workout either. If things are a little bit slower, higher intensity, like weight training or powerlifting or anything like that, I would say go for it. But again, it's up to you. If you feel okay, then you feel okay. All right. If you like it, then you like it. Totally don't let me bring you down. All right. And then we got one that says, why does everything think my protein powder is gonna kill my kidney? Why does everything think my protein powder is gonna kill my kidney? I'm not sure. So a lot of people think that protein is going to kill your kidneys because your kidney filters the protein. And so it's kind of what your kidneys are responsible for. But again, it is a mass. I think it's like you have to drink like 3 times your body weight in grams of protein. So if I'm like 190 pounds, I would have to drink 600 grams of protein just about for my kidneys to, and I have to do that consistently to really hurt my kidneys. And if you think that protein powder is going to hurt your kidneys more than like alcohol and all the drugs and medications that we take on a daily basis, you're also absolutely incorrect. And so protein powder is probably the least of our concerns because your kidneys and your liver work together to filter everything. Your kidneys are just responsible for pushing it out through your urine. And we know that protein goes out through our urine, but so does everything else. And so yeah, there's lots of things that are going to kill our kidneys that I would worry about way before I start to worry about my protein powder. So that's kind of one thing. There's another question about Herbalife shakes. My biggest, so I want to say hate. My biggest anger towards Herbalife is not the protein shake, so to speak. It's the business model. It's the whole idea of stop eating real food, drink this protein shake, lose weight. That's my biggest issue. If I could give you more chicken breast and fish and egg whites to take away your protein shake, I would. I have zero attachment to Rule 1. I have zero attachment to protein shakes. I personally almost never drink protein shakes because I can eat a crap ton of eggs and a crap ton of chicken breast and a crap ton of Greek yogurt. I have no problem with that. The only time I drink a protein shake is if I'm missing a meal or if I'm low on protein for some reason. I personally don't drink protein shakes. And so when you start telling people, hey, don't eat real food, drink this protein shake instead, take this supplement instead, that's my biggest issue with Herbalife. Now, the second thing, and again, I don't really care about this part, but it's actually a very low protein shake. There's more fats and more carbs in the shakes than there is actually protein. So the calories associated with one serving of Herbalife is mostly coming from carbs and fats rather than protein. So it's not even a really good protein shake. So if you're like, oh, I drink Herbalife, just say you drink an Herbalife shake. Don't call it a protein shake because it's really not. It's a pretty bad protein. The third thing is it's a soy-based protein, and soy is like the worst protein to consume when we want to talk about building muscle. And so if you're drinking protein because Herbalife shake because you're working out and you want to build muscle and all that good stuff, Herbalife is probably one of the worst proteins out there to consume. right? Now, based off of what I said earlier of, hey, we need some carbs and we need some proteins, like a 2-to-1 ratio. Could Herbalife be a good pre-workout or post-workout because of that 2-to-1 ratio? Yeah, because there's more carbs in it than there is protein. But there's also fats in it. And then if you actually read the ingredients label, and I've never really dove into it, but the ingredients label is like this long. There's like so many chemicals in it that it's like, what the heck is in here? In your Rule 1 protein, there's like 4 ingredients. In Herbalife, there's like 80. And so when we start to think about like, what are all these chemicals in this protein powder and why? Some of them are appetite suppressants. Some of them are vitamins and minerals and nutrients. But a lot of them are like, no, like, I don't know why these are in here. So that's kind of another issue with Herbalife. And again, most of my dislike for Herbalife comes from trying to pull people away from eating real food just to see weight loss. That's not healthy. And then the financial side of things and how many lives it's ruined is pretty scary as well, but that's a personal decision. If you let Herbalife ruin your life, that's kind of on you, nobody else. So, but we want, when we think about protein shakes, I want you to get protein. I don't want you to get carbs and fats, because rice cakes, fruits, tortillas, avocados, almonds, peanut butter, those things are really good to eat. So I'd much rather you eat those real foods than drink it through a protein shake. So when we put a protein shake on your plan, that's why I tell you guys, hey, we're just looking for about 25 grams of protein per scoop and like 120 calories, and 100 of those are coming from protein. The other 20 are coming from carbs and fats, right? And so that's kind of all we want to look for. That's all we want to look for. I don't care if it's Rule 1, Dymatize, Gold's Gym, GNC, Vitamin, I don't care what brand it is. As long as it's about 25 grams of protein and 120 calories, you can have it, right? And preferably an isolate, because it's more pure, it's higher quality, right? If it's a blend or if it's something else, it's a little bit lower quality, all righty? So I like that, okay? Got it per day, did it. Weird texture. Natasha says the blue one is gross. So if you guys do the Rule 1 blend and it's blue, she says gross. It has a weird texture. Everyone good, answer that. Good, got it. All right, moving right along. Snacks. Hi, Kristen. I'm glad you got in. I was talking about you. So if you ever watched the recording of this, like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm trying to help someone get in here and I don't know what to do. I was talking about you. Okay. So snacks. And so I forget who it was, but someone asked about dried fruit, and you know, it's so high. It's so high sugar, and what do we do? Is there a better option? Dried fruit is really tough, not because it's unhealthy for you, but just because it is so high calorie. And so remember that pretty much what dried fruit is let's take all the water out of it and let's just keep the sugar, right? And a lot of times fructose, so the sugar in fruit, is not that sweet. Glucose is really sweet, but fructose is not that sweet. And so they will add in other sugars to make it sweet, right? To make you eat more of the dried fruit. And so some of them will have added sugars, some of them don't. And you will be able to tell the difference immediately, because one will taste good and one will taste bad. And so, but either or, it doesn't matter. Sugar is still sugar, and it's a really high sugar option for a really low reward. So I would pretty much choose any other snack besides dried sugar or dried fruit, which is just dried sugar. And so if you have a better option, whether it's like a granola bar, whether it's a protein shake, like I would probably do that, because the sugar content and the calorie content will probably be a little bit lower than a bag of dried fruit. All right. Or for equal portions, right? So could I eat like one piece of dried fruit? Sure. But that's not going to do much if we're really hungry and we need some snacks. So maybe we look into a protein shake, right? Because protein is the safest macronutrient to overconsume. So if you're hungry or you're having a craving and you want to add an additional protein shake, like 1 scoop, totally okay. Then we go into like our vegetables, which would be like, I like to snack on sugar snap peas or green beans. You can even go carrots. If it's like, Joseph, hey, let me have carrots, or I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A, go to Chick-fil-A. No, I'm just kidding. Eat carrots, all righty? Alice was like, yeah, we're going to Chick-fil-A. Now eat your carrots, right? Totally okay. They're just a little bit higher in carbs. They're a little bit higher on the glycemic index scale. That's why they're not unlimited. But if it's going to save you from eating French fries, eat carrots. All right. And then eat real fruit. That would be another option that we could do. Just eat the real thing, eat the real apple, eat the real orange, eat pretty much anything besides a banana, because banana is the highest caloric fruit per serving. So whether it's berries and you have berries, kiwi, mangoes, apples, oranges, whatever you want, go that route as well from a snacking standpoint. And then rice cakes. I always say rice cakes for a couple of reasons. One, there is a lot of options of flavors. And then two, they're really easy to track. One rice cake is 12 grams of carbs. So if it's like, okay, if I really wanted to hit my macros still, I could just take away a quarter cup of carbs. So if I have a full cup of rice and I had a rice cake for a snack, maybe I take away and I only have 3/4 cups of rice for dinner or for lunch or whatever the case may be. So things that are really, really easy to track and monitor, that way we can make those substitutions, then that would be my total option. That would be my first option. Megan said, my kid's really weird and she says she likes carrots and would rather have them than French fries. Your kid is really weird, and I'm glad that's not my kid. I'll punch my kid in the head if they said that to me. I'm like, well, you know what? You're grounded, and all you can have is French fries. I'm just kidding. I like it. So that's snacks, right? So snacks are tough because we all have different cravings when we want a snack, right? And so whatever your craving is, if it's sweet, I would go protein. Right, that's just what I would do. If it's salty, then maybe we can add in some like almonds or pecans or something that's easy to track. And mom can say, hey, I'm gonna add in an extra ounce of this or an extra ounce of that because I need something salty. Or even a granola bar, right? I don't know if you know this, but you can go into your app under your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can click add food or drink, and you can scan the barcode. And so if you have a granola bar, you can just scan the barcode. Hopefully it pops up, fingers crossed, I don't know. Or you can just search for it and it will pop up, right? And then you can monitor your macros and your calories from there if you really wanted to be even and say, hey, I really want to hit my calories. I really want to hit my macros. And so how can I change my day around to fit in this granola bar? Log it and find out, right? So pretty cool. You want apples to be unlimited. They're not unlimited. All righty. Whew. Next things next. That's not what I wanted to say. All right, so how can I make life simpler and get the family on board, right? Like I got a great idea, get a new family. I'm just kidding. So it's really tough. I always tell people this, your family is your biggest enemy. You're probably your biggest enemy. They're probably second biggest, right? And so it's really tough. Sometimes we do things and we never really like fully explain what we're doing to them. Like we're just like, hey, I'm following the meal plan. Okay, like we start on Monday. And the family's like, okay, cool, mom, cool, dad, like don't care. And then like a week into it, they're like jeopardizing everything and they're like ruining everything. And so the first thing I would do is try to get everyone on board. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how we're going to do things. And then like, if you don't want it, then let me know what you want. And maybe we can come to an agreement on something. And a lot of times it's because you pitch it as this is healthy. And the rest of the family is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, no, I'm not doing this because you said the word healthy. And so they immediately think that it's not going to be good or it's gross and they want Chick-fil-A instead. And I love Chick-fil-A, so I just would rather get Chick-fil-A. But cool things that we can do. One, check out some of the recipes in the recipe book. If you have the recipe book, check out the Facebook group and scroll through the photos. And if you see something that you're like, man, that looks really good, I want to try to do that. You can either see what they did, if they posted like the sauces or how they cooked it, or just reach out to that person and say, hey, how'd you cook this meal? I want it. And let the family try those better recipes. You can buy pre-seasoned, pre-cut things. And so if it's like pre-seasoned chicken, pre-seasoned pork, pre-seasoned fish, like whatever the case may be, maybe that's going to be a little bit better. And you can pitch that like, hey, family, we're having whatever the case may be. And it's like already pre-seasoned. It's already pre-cut. It makes your life a lot easier. You can do it with vegetables. You can do it for like, if you're tired of cutting strawberries, like buy pre-cut strawberries, buy pre-cut pineapple, buy grapes, right? Like buy easy things that are easy for you to do that you don't have to worry about. And then use some of your substitutions and realize that, so we have like ground beef or ground turkey. Could you make burgers? Absolutely you could, right? So like, don't just ground up your beef, make burgers, right? And so that could be a way to do it, or just say, hey, we're gonna have salmon or we're gonna have steak, because you have both salmon and New York strip steak as a fatty substitution. So you could totally do that. Say, hey, family, we're doing steak tonight. Hey, family, like we're doing this Asian salmon recipe tonight, like whatever the case may be, and try to get them on board that way through tricking them through substitutions or seasonings and sauces and recipes like that. Or just let them use whatever sauces they want. So like if we can't have ketchup because it's like super high sugar and they don't like the GU's ketchup, then just let them use ketchup. Let them use real barbecue sauce. Let them use whatever ranch, mayonnaise, whatever things like, just let them do their thing with the foods that you're cooking, right? And so that's also another thing to think about as well. And again, as long as you're sticking to pretty much the portions of what's on your plan, you have 4 ounces, 6 ounces, 8 ounces, 1 cup of rice or 1 cup of carbs, totally okay. Just stick to your portions, and that's 99% of the battle. Yeah, burgers, spaghetti, meatballs, meatball subs. Yeah, totally can do that with your ground beef or your ground turkey. And, you know, I think kids love spaghetti and meatballs. That's probably because I'm a kid and I love spaghetti and meatballs. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And then, yeah, just having that conversation of like, hey, I would love some support, especially if it's a spouse. Just say, hey, I would love some support. You're kind of like jeopardizing both of us right now, and I want to look good for you. And so, if you could help me do that, that would be great, right? And so, but 99% of the time, we avoid that conversation because it's a little awkward, right? You're trying to change the culture of your family for however long you've been living the same lifestyle. So if you've been married for 20 years, or your kids are 5, 8, 10, 12, right? You're trying to change this culture that you've established for the last 12 years in one day, right? Like meal plan starts on Monday, family, pivot. And the family's like, no, no one wants to do this except for you. So it's hard. And so don't think that you have to be perfect in the beginning, and don't think that they're going to immediately pivot with you in the beginning, because they're not. And so give yourself some grace, give them some freedom and variety as well. Try to find this happy medium. And then again, over time, hopefully we can try to pull them to our side and not let them pull you to their side, right? That's the goal of this. Like, hey, I'm the queen of the house. I'm the king of the house. Let me manipulate them to come to my side, right? Like Megan was saying where her kid likes carrots now, right? And I hear like you guys post in the Facebook group all the time, like my kids are stealing my snacks, my kids are eating my meals, like all this, like my sons saw my chicken and rice in the refrigerator and they ate it already. And so all that good stuff will happen over time. It's not going to happen in the beginning. It's not going to happen in a week, maybe not even a month. Give it time, stand your ground, find the happy balance for that time, try to pull them to your side, but also like give yourself grace. I'm not telling you to don't ruin your marriage or your family dynamic for a meal plan, right? So keep that in mind as well. Supporting things around, you know, make sure I love it. Chrissy said that she had to tell her husband that, you know, I needed his support and things turned around. He now makes sure I get my food weighed before he takes his or more. I love it. That's super awesome. Yeah, like let me weigh out my portions and then you can like have the rest, right? Super awesome. And then also they'll kind of like throw you some subtle hints like, hey, you haven't meal prepped yet, or hey, you're gonna go to the grocery store, or hey, should you be eating that? So like all of that stuff will come over time as long as you stand your ground, right? The moment and well, not the moment, but the more frequently that you give in to them, the less serious they're going to take your goals, right? So if you're like, okay, it's just a drink, it's just, you know, a glass of wine. And then tomorrow, okay, it's just a donut. And then the next day, okay, it's just a breakfast taco. And then the next day, okay, let's go out to dinner. And then the next day, they're not going to respect what you're trying to do at all, right? And it goes both ways, right? And so stand your ground, let them know like, hey, this is important to me. I really want to try to accomplish this. I really love your support. You don't have to do it with me, but I would just love for you not to jeopardize me, right? And try to go that route. And then again, trying to find that happy medium, that balance, and understanding that it's going to take time. That's the hardest part, is we want it to change right now because I told you your start date was on Monday and you want them to have a start date on Monday. And they're like, no, like this isn't for me, this is for you. And so it's really tough. So just give it time, give it grace, be patient, but openly communicate what you're trying to accomplish to your family. And again, hopefully you try to pull them closer to your side rather than let them pull you closer to their side. All righty. Jeannie says that she does the cooking, so he doesn't have much of a choice. And I like that. I like it. And then Kristen asked about alcohol. What is a good alcohol to drink while we're on plan? And so it's tough. And I just talked about this on a call before I jumped on here. And so we know that there's 7 calories per gram of alcohol. And you're like, okay, like what's a gram of alcohol? I don't know. Okay. But what I do know is that the stronger the alcohol is, the more calories it has because the more alcohol is in it. So like 100 proof versus 60 proof, or 80% alcohol versus 20% alcohol, right? Or a beer is like I don't know, 12% alcohol. I don't know. I don't drink, so I don't know. But what we know is the stronger it is, the higher calories that it has. But the stronger it is, the less we need to get drunk. And so if we choose a lower calorie option, like Keystone Light, which is what I drank in high school, I need like 40 of them. So if I'm having 40 Keystone Lights, but they're only 50 calories, that's still 2,000 calories. Or if I had 3 bourbons or scotches, that's still probably 2,000 calories because the alcohol content, the content is so much higher in bourbon or whiskey, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, right? Does that make sense? So there's not really a win. The only win that we can have with alcohol is trying to do just alcohol, like a tonic, I don't know, vodka tonic, I think, is that a thing? Where you do like vodka and like 0 calories sparkling water or something like that. I don't know. Or straight tequila or straight whatever the case may be, right? The mixers, the things that the fruity, yummy drinks that we love, the wine, right? That is where the calories come from. It's from the added sugars. And so if we could consider alcohol a win, try to drink straight liquor. That would be my goal. But really what we want to do is we just want to try to reduce it all together, right? There's sugar-free wine, but it's really dry. That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that. And so again, there's not really a way to win with alcohol. There's a way to reduce excess calories from the sugars and stuff like that, but we're still really not going to win. And then we also don't really want to sacrifice food for alcohol either. Same concept as like the protein shake, right? I don't want to take away food to have a protein shake, and I don't want to take away food to have alcohol. And so I really wouldn't go that route either. Because alcohol breaks things down. It's a toxin, right? It's toxic. You ever been in a toxic relationship before? No, but it's a toxin. And so it breaks things down. So it breaks down our muscle tissue, it breaks down a lot of things. And so it's like a double negative. It has calories associated with it, which is pretty much going to get stored as fat right away because we can't utilize that caloric content until we process it and change it over to something different. And by the time we do that, we probably don't need that energy. And so we store it. And then it's also while we're doing that stuff and the alcohol gets kicked out, because you don't have a storage of alcohol like in your liver or your muscles. That alcohol that's floating around is breaking stuff down. And then we'll pee it out, right? And the kidneys and the liver will process it. And so it's kind of like a double negative. And so we can't win. So everyone always says like, oh, I'm going to order like a skinny girl margarita. And that's great. But the tequila is the problem, in itself, not necessarily the sugar added to the tequila, but the tequila itself is still a problem. Alrighty. So keep that in mind. It's tough to win. I'm not saying avoid it. I'm not saying to cut it out completely. I'm just saying like, hey, take it for what it is. Do your thing, have fun, right? Especially if we're out with family and friends, like have a good time. If you can limit yourself and have 2 margaritas instead of 20, that would be a good starting point. If not, because it's your anniversary, then like do your thing, so don't sacrifice. Don't be like, I'm not going to eat dinner so I can go have 20 margaritas. Don't do that either. Alrighty. Beautiful. We're making a good time. Last but not least, almost done. And so Miss Alice asked, what do we do when our motivation is gone? How do we get back on track? I'm not a baseball field. I would just want all these hot dogs at the concession stand. I'm just kidding, Alex. So you have a really cool email. You can all probably go, unless you're new and you've only been here for like a week or two. Search your email for what to do when motivation is gone. I can tell you that a lot of you don't open your emails because I get a red receipt and y'all don't open your emails. But what to do when motivation is gone, pretty great email. And so what it says in the email is we've got to stick to our habits and our routines, right? And so, of course, things are always going to get in the way. But if they do, we've got to kind of have a plan B, right? So, okay, what's our plan B? And sometimes we can't have a plan. Maybe there's just no way to stay on track. There's no way to whatever we're going to do. So we're going to fall off track. Okay, how accept that, like totally accept it. So I'm going to Mexico May 2nd through the 9th. If you think for a split second that I'm going to try to behave, you're out your mind, okay? But when I get back on the 10th, I'm going to be right back at the grocery store cooking my eggs. I'll be sure to post my eggs, my rice, and my waffles, and I'm going to be meal prepping, right? That's the goal. And so, because I stick to my routine. When I'm out of routine and I can't control it, I can't control it. I just take it for what it is. But when I can control it and I'm like, hey, I'm in charge of my 9 to 5 day. What can I do to make my 9 to 5 better? I'm going to do everything that I can. Take 100% responsibility. and take control of my 9 to 5, right? And so we want to try to start new habits, new behaviors, new routines. And if you need to write them down on a calendar, paper, whatever the case may be, do it, right? Hey, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. and then I'm going to try to eat breakfast from 7 to 7:30. And then I got to get my kids ready from 7:30 to 8. And then I got to do this from 8 to 9, whatever the case may be. And schedule everything out. I'm going to meal prep and grocery shop on Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays, right? And so whatever that schedule or routine looks like for you, do it. And that's why I love writing things down on a calendar. I was never a calendar fan until I became a personal trainer, and I realized how amazing a calendar is. And I schedule everything on my calendar. I block off time blocks to where you guys can't get a hold of me. I can't even get a hold of me. And I schedule everything on my calendar, right? And so not only does it just help keep me in line with things, but it also it makes sure that I don't double book myself, which is what we do a lot of. And if you double book yourself, the thing that's going to take the hit is going to be your health. You're always going to push that away because we take our health for granted. It's really hard. That's why, when you guys jump on calls with me and we're setting some long-term goals, a lot of you will have a long-term goal of, I want to be healthy. And that is a crap goal because nobody cares about their health. Let's just be honest, right? And so saying oh, should I choose health or should I choose my grandson's birthday party and go eat cake? You're going to go choose your grandson's birthday party and go eat cake, right? Almost 99% of the time. So that's why where my schedule comes into play. So if I can move things around my health time, then that's what I will do. If I can't, again, I just take it for what it is, but I get right back on track as soon as I can. And a lot of times we look for motivation, Alice, right? We're like, where's this motivation at? It's got to come from somewhere. And motivation is just a really bad thing to search for. And so we just try to search for consistency and routine and schedule. That's the biggest thing that I would try to say is stop looking for motivation and just look for an opportunity to get back on track, right? And so maybe it's and I think we also try to do it right now. So we have this call, I'm talking to you about motivation and getting back on track. You think, oh crap, I got to go do this tomorrow. And then no, what if we just sat for the rest of the week and we try to plan out on the following week? Say, okay, how can I get back on track on next Monday, right? And so try to figure that out and say, okay, well, if I want to get back on track on Sunday, what could I do Saturday or Sunday to grocery shop, to meal prep, and I've been telling a lot of you guys, hey, just cook your proteins. If you can't do anything at all, cook your chickens, cook your ground beefs, cook your salmons, cook your turkeys, whatever the case may be, and just do that. Don't worry about your carbs. Don't worry about your vegetables. Just get your proteins cooked. Because carbs and vegetables can come easily. Vegetables we can do frozen. We got frozen potatoes. We've got minute bag rice. We've got rice cakes. We've got bread. We've got tortillas. We got all these things that don't need to be cooked, but proteins do, right? And so just cook your proteins and don't even oh crap, well, how much do I have to buy? I don't know. Buy 3 or 4 pounds, cook it all, weigh it out. If you have extra, let someone else eat it or freeze it or throw it away or whatever the case may be. But don't spend too much time worrying about crap. Well, how much do I buy? What if I don't buy enough? What if I buy too much, right? Don't let that stress you out or pull you away from actually doing something, right? So a lot of times we'll talk ourselves out of it, right? Like I said earlier, we are our own worst enemies. We'll talk ourselves out of anything. And so keep in mind that we can worry about that stuff later. Get your proteins cooked, maybe have some simple carb options in the house and some vegetables in the freezer that can just be easy, right? Angela says them in her brain. And so that we can just say, because I can't really pull proteins out of my butt, right? I can't just we have to cook those, right? Now, another cool thing is, and if you have the availability to do so, go get fajita chicken meat from a Mexican restaurant and just say, hey, I need 5 pounds of chicken breast, and they will cook it for you. And you just take it home and portion it out, right? Boom, there's your chicken, right? Super simple. Now don't do that with ground beef because their ground beef is terrible. And so, but chicken breast is chicken breast, whether you cook it or whether they cook it, it's still chicken breast. So maybe that's an option. Or maybe we get one of those rotisserie chickens and we peel it apart and we take the skin off, even though it's the best part, and the skin's the best part, but we take the chicken breast, we let the family eat the chicken thighs, the chicken wings, the chicken, whatever else is in there, right? We do all that stuff. And so Megan said, we found Cozi, Kozi. It's a calendar for multiple users in the family that you can meal plan. That's super cool. I did not know that. I'll write that down. Cozi. You know what? I don't have a family, but I'm still gonna check it it's just like me and Allie, me and the dog. You see her back there. She's back there sleeping down there in the corner. She's snoring. But yeah, so I'll check it out. Cozy, very cool. A wall calendar, heck yeah. Apps on your phones are free. Cool, love it. I'm in your brain. Yep. Buy 2 big packs of the HEB chicken fajita breast and the thighs. Cook them all in one day. Freeze half. That's what Natasha's schedule looks like. So I like that. And so I think the biggest part with motivation and how do I get back on track is just us. It's just you and your own brain talking yourself out of saying, oh, it's too complicated, it's too hard, I don't have time, I don't want to spend 4 or 5 hours in the kitchen cooking, I want to do this instead. And so we simplify it. We just break it down to like the one thing you can do. And if the one thing you can do is cook your proteins, it takes like 30 minutes, I promise you. Preheat your oven, throw your chicken in the oven for 30 minutes, simultaneously ground up some ground turkey or ground beef, and in 30 minutes you're done. So I cook probably, I think I cook 3 pounds of each, 3 pounds of chicken and 3 pounds of ground beef or ground turkey at the same time. So I've got 6 pounds of protein done. And I cook my rice periodically and I do frozen vegetables. If I even do vegetables, sometimes I don't do vegetables. And so again, because that's the most important part, controlling my calories and controlling my macros, and vegetables really don't add any benefit to my macros or calories. And so that's why I'm not stressed out about vegetables. So if you can only figure out one thing, one step in the right direction, prep your proteins. If not, could we buy from a restaurant? Could we get a rotisserie chicken that's already cooked? What could we do to make things a little bit easier, and start there? And then you just kind of stay loyal to your schedule. Like, what was your schedule? What did you write down on your calendar? What did you write down in your notebook or whatever? It's your thing. And so we did a call a long time ago about scheduling. And a lot of times we forget that we have to drive places, that we have to use the bathroom, that we might get stuck talking to people. And so maybe giving yourself like a 15 to 30-minute buffer between events on your schedule or on your calendar will also help set you up for success as well. There's a lot of hours in the day. There is a lot. Chrissy says she cooks at nights, Monday nights, cook her proteins from Wednesdays and Fridays, and then she does the same on Tuesdays. Oh, very cool. Right. So she says she cooks Monday nights, she cooks her proteins fresh. So Monday night she has fresh proteins, and then she uses the leftovers for Wednesdays and Fridays. And then Tuesdays, she eats it fresh, and then she has her leftovers for Thursdays and Saturdays. So that's pretty awesome. I like that routine. But yeah, so trying to stay true to your schedule. So I challenge everyone to just start scheduling things in your calendar for you, and don't be extreme. That's another thing. Is a lot of times like people are like, well, I'm gonna start working out at 5 a.m. And I'm like, that's great. Have you ever woken up at 4:30? Because it's hard. And if you haven't, then we might not want to start with that goal, right? We might want to start somewhere. We might want to start with a 15-minute walk at lunch. That's something we might want to start with before we think we're going to wake up 5 days a week at 4:30. That's pretty, yeah, it's pretty hard. I do it every day, but you know what? It's still hard. I've done it every day for 12 years. Next Monday, I will not do it anymore. I'll tell you that much. So it's really hard. So don't be extreme. So if in your head you are thinking already, this is too hard, then don't do that. Take it off, right? Start somewhere else, right? Or, oh, that's not going to work because of this reason or that reason. Don't try to fit it in. Start somewhere else. Try again, right? All right. So Megan says I do something similar. Cook on my protein on Sunday. Thanks, Natasha. Air fryer cooks super fast. I don't know if you need an air fryer. I have one. You can have it. I don't even know how to use it. It's in my pantry. There's probably dust on it. 4:30 sucks. That's very true. So Angela said, yeah, 4:30 sucks, but you have zero excuses, right? Like nothing's going to get in the way at 4:30. So that's very true as well. Dion is crying. I don't know why she's crying. I'll also cook fresh in the evenings and then eat the leftovers in corresponding days. Yeah, I love it. Heck yeah. No more joke. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see why you're crying. Yeah, I'm done with Cam Gladiator. Sorry, guys. And so love it. Love it. So yeah, so don't search for motivation, right? That's the end of it, right, Alice? The last time I was motivated to do something was never. Like I really think that people think that since you're a trainer or since you're like a health coach or whatever the case may be, that we just love it every day. Like no. You know, I love Chick-fil-A and I love naps. Those are the two things that I love. And I think Chris can vouch for me because I'm napping all the time. And so I just got to stick to my schedule, you know, and luckily, like, I don't have a spouse, I don't have kids. And so I do know I'm not the best person to ask. But I do also know that we can get to a pretty good schedule for ourselves, right? Because we probably had a very similar lifestyle for a really long time. And so yeah, so just think about your schedule for the last year and just say, what's it been doing? What does Monday look like for me normally? What does Tuesday look like for me normally? What is Wednesday? And schedule what normal looks like for you. Schedule around that normalcy. And then when things pop up, if you can pivot, great, and make a healthier decision, great. If you can't, then who cares? Because we have Tuesday already scheduled. Because we have Wednesday already scheduled. Don't let Monday affect Tuesday and don't let Tuesday affect Wednesday. We get into this ripple effect of, crap, I messed up on Monday, so I'm just going to blow the rest of the week out of the water, and then I'll try again on Monday. But we've lost so much motivation, so much steam from ruining last week that we never start on Monday, right? And so that's kind of where you see like those quotes on Facebook that's like, don't wait till Monday, start today, right? Like, don't wait. And so, but again, coming from a schedule, you can schedule out every single day when you're going to exercise, when you're going to meal prep. Is it going to be fresh? Is it going to be meal prep? Is it going to be eating out at a restaurant? Like, what can we do to just be ready, right? And then again, if we can pivot and have a plan B, great. If we can't, then it's okay, because tomorrow is still the same schedule. Today should not affect tomorrow, right? From a health standpoint, right? Sometimes work rolls over and sometimes drama rolls over. I got that. But like from a health standpoint, from I need to eat on plan standpoint, it shouldn't roll over. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's my favorite quote. Don't keep breaking your phone just because you dropped it once, right? Like, we drop our phone, pick it up, baby it, make sure it still works, make sure your screen's not cracked. Don't keep stomping on it just because you dropped it one time. So yes, it's a very good quote. Favorite Joseph Pearl of wisdom. I love it. I don't know where that's not my original quote. I don't know where I found that from. I can't take 100% credit for that quote, but I'm glad that you heard it through me first. So I will take credit for that. So I like it. All righty, that's all done. 6:30 on the dot. Any questions? Did I forget? Oh wait, did I forget anything? Let me look back. No, I think I did everything. I think I got everything. Yeah, I'm good. Heck yeah. I want to end the meeting. I want to stop the recording.